How's it going, everyone? And welcome to this episode of the Sports Talk Podcast with Alec Pecano. This is part one of my conference tournament predictions. Let's get started here. We're going to start backwards. We're going to go with the Ivy League first, since it's the conference tournament with the smallest bracket. We've got, in the semis in the Ivy League, we've got the 1 seed Princeton. Hold on. We've got the 1 seed Princeton versus the 4th seed Brown. I like Princeton to win this and move on to the championship game. If you notice, like I said, the Ivy League only allows 4 teams in their conference tournament. So I have Princeton beating Brown, and then it's a 2 seed Yale versus the 3 seed Bucknell. I like Yale to move on and be in the Ivy League championship game. And the winner of the Ivy League is going to be Princeton. Now we're going to move on to the MACC tournament. And we start with the playing games. So we start with 8th seed Mount Union versus 9th seed Canisius. I like the 8th seed Mount St. Mary's here to win. I think Mount St. Mary's is a really good team, and they're being heavily underrated in their conference tournament. And I think they beat Canisius. The next play-in game is the 7-10 play-in game between Iona and Manhattan. And here's my first upset of the MACC tournament. It is the 10th seed Manhattan upsetting the 7th seed Iona. I really like how Manhattan's played throughout the season, and I think Manhattan could make a mini run in their conference tournament. The only way they get into the NCAA tournament is if they win the whole conference, which I don't think they're going to. And then the last play-in game is the 6-11 play-in game between Niagara and Siena. And I have another upset to announce. I like the 11th seed Siena here to upset the 6th seed Niagara. Now we get to the quarterfinals. It is the 1 seed Quinnipiac versus the 8th seeded Mount St. Mary's. I like Quinnipiac here to win and move on to the next round. Then you got the 4th seed Rider versus the 5 seed St. Peter's. And unfortunately for St. Peter's, they are going to be eliminated by the 4th seed Riders. So no upset there. You got the 2 seed Fairfield versus the 10th seed Manhattan. This is where Manhattan's conference tournament run ends. They lose to Fairfield. And then you've got the 3 seed Marist and the 11th seed Siena. I think Marist, the 3 seed here, wins this game, and they move on to the next round. Semifinals now. We've got Quinnipiac, the 1 seed, versus the 4 seed Rider. I think Quinnipiac takes this semifinal game and moves on to the championship game. And then I've got the 2 seed Fairfield versus the 3 seed Marist. I think 2 seeded Fairfield moves on to the championship game and faces off against Quinnipiac. And for Quinnipiac, this is where their championship run ends. They lose to Fairfield in the championship game. Fairfield is the MACC conference champ. Now we get to the MEAC. And the first round games are the 1 seed Norfolk State versus 8 seed Coppin State. And I like the 1 seed Norfolk State to beat Coppin State and move on to the semis. The second first round game is the 2 seed North Carolina Central versus the 7 seeded Maryland Eastern Shore. And I like 2 seed North Carolina Central to win here and move on to the semis. The third game is the 3-6 matchup between South Carolina State and Delaware State. So it's a battle of the directional states from Delaware and South Carolina. Give me South Carolina State, the 3 seed, to beat 6-seeded Delaware State. So far there's been 0 upsets in the MEAC conference tournament. And then the last first round matchup is the 4th seed Howard versus the 5 seed Morgan State. Originally, when I did this, I had Morgan State winning, but then I looked at it again and I said, nope, I don't think there's an avenue where Morgan State beats Howard. So I have Howard, the 4th seed, moving on to face in the first semifinal, Norfolk State. The 1 seed Norfolk State versus the 4 seed Howard. This is where I have my first upset in the MEAC conference tournament. And it is Howard, the 4 seed, beating the 1 seed Norfolk State. And so Howard is now in the championship game, and they will either be facing the 2 seed North Carolina Central or the 3 seed South Carolina State. And I think North Carolina Central, the 2 seed, beats South Carolina State. So your conference championship matchup in the MEAC is set. It is the 2 seed North Carolina Central versus the 4 seed Howard. And I think the 2 seed here, North Carolina Central, wins this conference tournament. And we got 2 more left in the first batch of conference tournaments. The first one is the Mountain West. In the play-in games, the 8th seed Wyoming versus the 9th seed Fresno State. And I like Wyoming, the 8th seed here, to beat Fresno State, the 9th seed, and move on to the next round. We've got 7-seeded Colorado State versus the 10-seed Air Force. Give me 7-seeded Colorado State here to beat Air Force and move on. And my first upset of the Mountain West Conference tournament is 11th seed San Jose State to beat the 6th seed New Mexico. Then we get to the quarterfinals. So we've got the 1 seed Utah State versus the 8th seed Wyoming. No upset here. I like the 1 seed Utah State to get the W and move on to the semifinals. Then you've got the 4 seed UNLV versus the 5 seed San Diego State. Give me 4th seeded UNLV to pull off the win and move on. You got 2 seed Nevada versus 7 seeded Colorado State. Give me Nevada, the 2 seed, to move on. And in a shocker, I've got 3 seed Boise State versus 11 seed San Jose State, with the 11th seed San Jose State upsetting the 3 seed Boise State. Semifinal action now. We've got 1 seeded Utah State versus the 4 seed UNLV. I like the 1 seed Utah State here to beat UNLV and move on to the championship game. And then I've got 2 seed Nevada versus 11 seeded San Jose State. Unfortunately for San Jose State. I'm sad to say this is where their run in the Mountain West tournament, conference tournament ends. The 2 seed Nevada will be going on to the championship game. So the championship game is going to be the 1 seed Utah State versus the 2 seed Nevada. And the champion for the 2024 Mountain West Men's Basketball Tournament will be the Utah State Spartans. Utah State wins the Mountain West. Now we get to the Pac-12. Personally, this is my favorite conference tournament to predict because there's a lot of outcomes that can happen. So we start with the play-in. The play-in games. So we've got 8th seed Washington versus the 9th seed USC. And in the comments down below, sound up in the comments down below and tell me who you think is going to win these conference tournaments. In your opinion. This is my opinion on these conference tournaments and who I think is going to win. But back to this. So the winner of this first game is going to be the 8th seed Washington. I like the balanced scoring that Washington brings, and I think they have a better shot at making a somewhat decent run in the Pac-12 conference tournament. The second play-in game is between the 5 seed UCLA and the 12th seed Oregon State. I don't think this is going to be a very competitive game at all. I think UCLA is going to run Oregon State out of the building. I like the 5 seed UCLA to win in a laugher against Oregon State. Then you get the 7th seed Cal versus the 10th seed Stanford. Give me the 7th seeded California Golden Bears to move on to the next round, the quarters. And then the last play-in game is the 6-11 matchup. And this is my first upset of the Pac-12 tournament. I have 6-seeded Utah versus 11th seed Arizona State. And I think Arizona State and Bobby Hurley pull off the upset here and move on. So now you get the quarterfinals. It is the 1 seed Arizona versus the 8th seed Washington. And the obvious pick here is Arizona. And that's who I'm going with to beat, to win and move on to the next round. Then you get the 4 seed Oregon versus the 5 seed UCLA. At one point, I thought that I was going to pick UCLA, but I went with the much safer pick here, and that is the 4th seed Oregon Ducks. I like Oregon here to get the W and move on to the next round. Then you got the 2 seed Washington State and the 7th seed Cal. Give me Washington State, the 2 seed, to move on to the semifinals. And then the last one is the 3 seed Colorado versus the 11th seed Arizona State. And unfortunately for Arizona State, this is where their Cinderella story ends in the conference tournament. They lose to Colorado. So now you go to the semis. So it's the 1 seed Arizona versus 4 seed Oregon. Give me 1 seed Arizona to beat Oregon. I think this is going to be the best game of the Pac-12 tournament. I like Arizona to win. Then you get the 2 seed Colorado. No, 2 seed Washington State. First 3 seed Colorado. Give me 2 seeded Washington State to beat 3 seed Colorado. So the championship game is now set. It is 1 seed Arizona versus the 2 seed Washington State. Give me Washington State to lose in the championship game to the 1 seed Arizona, the champion of the Pac-12 in its final season of basketball is Arizona. And to all my loyal YouTube supporters, there will be another conference tournament predictions video tonight at 9:30. But I'm also undergoing a little change on the channel. Not with the name, just the logo and the merch. The logo and the merch and my description on my YouTube are all undergoing updates. And those new updates should be rolled out by tonight at 9:30. So if you see an updated logo and an updated background on my YouTube, Sports Talk Podcast is not going anywhere. We're just updating the photo. We're updating the profile picture and the background, and we're updating the description so it better suits what we talk about here on the Sports Talk Podcast and College Football Show. But we do offer memberships, and the memberships start at 99 cents a month and end at $14.99 a month. It's highly recommended that if you can afford it, that you purchase a membership. You won't regret it. When college football season starts, if you purchase the $14.99 membership, you get first crack at my upset picks. But on that note, we will have two different MVP sections for college football. We'll have a paid section, which we're still trying to determine how much it's going to cost. And then the free section, which is open to everyone on this YouTube channel. But, ladies and gentlemen, I will see y'all tonight at 9:30 for the second half of my college basketball conference tournament predictions. Have a lovely rest of your day. Peace.